I want to take you on a journey. This is an exciting day because, well, a few months ago, this conference was just a dream. I woke up one morning and I told Carrie, we're going to have another conference. And she said, we're not having another conference. We said we were only going to do our one conference in Napa at DMSC. And I said, no, we need another one. She goes, why do I need another conference? I said, because this is a topic that's not being addressed at the digital dealers, the driving sales, NADA specifically helping marketing professionals understand what is working to sell more cars. Do you agree? Yes. So let's go on a journey together. I want us to reflect why we're in the situation we are in today. I'd like you to reimagine what life could be with greater collaboration between dealers and vendors. I'd like to talk about some changes. What do we need to require both the vendor and the dealer community to really solve the problems at hand? And lastly, to retool. What are the new tools that these wonderful sponsors and other things we're going to talk about today help us to do our job better? I'm just going to ask one thing. Is that today, as John Clavendasher said, be the start of a change management movement. Today, dealers in this room are going to put down their guard and move closer to what they need to do. In my mind, develop a data-centric culture and to invest in education. For the vendors, again, put down your guard. I need you to be walking closer to data transparency and collaboration. If we can do that starting today and reinforce that again tomorrow, I think change will occur. We have some time for live polling. Are you ready? Get out your apps. Here we go. We got a couple questions. Let's have some fun. Do you trust the accuracy of your vendors' web analytics reports? Go. Let's see. Let's see if there's any surprises here today. Do you trust the accuracy of your vendors' web analytics reports? Okay, polling is moving. We got 49. There's 200 people in this room, so we have some slackers who are not polling. Ladies and gentlemen, does this graph tell us we have a problem? Let's go to our second question. This is for the dealers in this room. If you gave me your login to Google Analytics right now, would there be 4 working goals for form leads, phone calls, chats, and text from all your referral traffic? Would I see 4 working goals, those 4 what we call hard conversion channels, would I see them in your Google Analytics account? I'm thinking this should be a lot lower up here, but we got some smart people in the room. Ladies and gentlemen, do we have a problem in our industry? Every one of the dealers I talk to says, I want more leads. But if 3/4 of the dealers in this room, and this is the top 1% up here, if you don't even track those 4 hard conversions, what are you really asking for? One more question. Maybe 2. This is a word cloud one. This is fun. Take a minute. Use words to describe your process. This is for the dealers in the room. That you go through. What are the feelings and emotions you have when you prepare your marketing reports for your boss every month? This is going to be fun. I'm a marketing manager. I have to get my month-end reports done. How am I feeling? I love that. What the fuck that was. I saw that there. Yeah. Thank you for being politically correct. Friends, Do we have a problem here? That's why this conference is so important, because we need to take the time to understand why, for the vendors in this room, why are you making it so difficult for these marketing managers to be successful at their job? This is a little live feedback to the vendors in the room. Dealers, please answer this question. How often does your website account manager change? So whether it's your dealer.com or CDK or Dealer Inspire or Dealer eProcess or anyone, how often does your website account manager change? Let's take a look. Now, for the dealers in this room, do you want to just shout out a word or two how you feel when you get the call that you have a new account manager? Oh, crap. That's okay. That's good. Not again. Why? That's right. I really liked my account manager. Oh. Love that. Love that. That will go in the best of hits of AAS. Friends, look at this data. Does a dealer with their busy schedule, does a marketing manager, and there's some of the largest marketing managers from Berkshire Hathaway, Lithia, Asbury, there's so many large groups, if they're insulated from this because they're such a key in account, they put the best of the best and they very rarely see turnover. But the smaller groups, the 1 to 2 off stores, this is making it very impossible for us to get better. Okay, let's switch to your ad agency or your digital agency. Who's running your AdWords campaigns? Dealers in the room. How often is your digital advertising strategist changing? Let's take a look at that together. My account rep has never changed. You know, this is all the big dealer groups. That's what that is. Well, for most. Friends, do we have a problem here? Nothing is more frustrating than a store manager who really has that mojo. The ad rep really understands their market, their geo-targeting, their competition, and then boom, 3 months later, 6 months later. Look at that, 40%. Thank you for your feedback. Now it's time for us to reflect on why we're here today. I asked a few hundred managers just like you this very same question that we started with, and over 60%, that's pretty high, 60% said that they don't trust their analytics reports. Why are managers frustrated? Aside from John Clavendasher's comment of possible frustration in your life, things like delayed reporting, limited training, lack of standards. All of the marketing managers in this room can identify with this slide. And this is really important to understand, that there's many dynamics that we need to address today and tomorrow. I want to address the multi-store groups. And we have some of the largest, most profitable companies here in the room. But if you're a multi-store manager, isn't it true that in your ecosystem you probably have 3, 4, or 5 different website platforms? Yes or no? Today, we're going to have some of these great marketing managers speak to us about their wish list for the vendor community. But if you work in a single point store, anybody, I'm only working in a single point store? Okay, great. What's your name? Josh. So I'm going to give you a little inside sneak to like what Berkshire Hathaway does and Lithia and Asbury and Group 1. You want a little sneak peek? Here's what's going to happen. It's called the data shuffle. At the end of the month, these multi-store group managers pile all their stuff into Excel. And then they try to match it up with Google Analytics. And immediately following that task, they bang their head on their desk. That's what's happening at the largest dealer groups in the country. Because there's no standards. Not a single standard until recently in 2017. The other thing that we obviously got from your feedback, not my feedback, your feedback, is that we don't really trust our vendor reports. These are all great companies. But what is wrong when 60, 70% of you in this room say, hey, when I get a report from that vendor, I don't believe it? The great news is that PCG has been working for the last year and a half to create new standards for the industry that will help dealership marketing managers and dealers really get to that question of who sold it. Very excited about an announcement for CDK, and some people last night said, Brian, when I saw this press release, I almost fell over dead. Why? I asked them. Well, we've been trying to get CDK to support Google Analytics for a long time, and they just haven't done it. How did you get it done? Persistence. But there's also a change in the philosophy at CDK that you'll learn a little bit later about answering the complaints that their dealers have had. Cox Automotive also this week issued a press release to support a common standard for Google Analytics. Ladies and gentlemen, is this great news? Well, thank you for that rousing applause. It's important for Brian Geithner and for Max Steckler, two leaders of Cox and CDK, to understand clearly why you want standards in Google Analytics, why you want standards for phone tracking, why you want standards for digital retailing tools. Why is this important? I estimate that over 65% of dealers' marketing budgets is spent on digital, yet sales are flat. And here's the sad truth. I believe that over 90% of the dealers in the US are using the wrong marketing metrics to determine what's working. And you already know that over 50% don't even trust the data if they had the right metrics. Next year, everyone in this room is contributing to another $1.4 billion in spending in automotive. But do you understand how crazy that sounds? You're going to spend $1.4 billion more and get reports from people you don't trust, and 90% of you don't even know what you should be looking at. That's why this conference is so important. We need to reflect on where we are today. Now, you've heard about the consumer journey, the road to the sale. Ladies and gentlemen, there's millions of different variations of that. Hey, here's another one. It doesn't make a difference how somebody gets to your dealership to purchase a car, but my good friend Chip Dorman is here, and he'll say amen loud and clear. We need AI, we need machine learning, we need data science to figure out all these different variations. And thank God, the people here in this room and some changes in the industry, we're finally getting smarter advertising platforms. The folks at Outsell have something called Neuromotics. You should learn something about that product because there's too many data points for your ad agency account manager to figure out. Are you with me? They're guessing. They're guessing based on impartial data. I want to have a little fun with you. Come on a journey of a typical single store dealership with me. They start off with a CDK Global website. They're happy as hell. They're like, wow, I got a new CDK website. It's wonderful. And then the manager says, I want more leads. Have you heard that before? I need more leads. Oh, okay, let's add chat. Active Engage is a great chat platform. So they're fine. The manager says, I need more leads. So, okay, let's hire someone to do our Facebook. Hey, is anybody's niece or nephew can run some ads for us? You know that happens. Then the manager says, I need more leads. And they hire lot links because they're bringing in low funnel shoppers in a very, very sophisticated way. And, well, the general manager is happy for a little while. And then one day he goes to a 20 group and hears, well, CDK websites suck. I'm going to switch to dealer.com. And out of the blue, CDK gets a call. We're canceling. And the dealer.com people are really happy. They're like, yeah, conquest. Then they realized that the internal person who was running social media knew nothing, and they hired a competent social media agency like Social Dealer. They go to another 20 group and says, Active Engage is old school. Let's go with Car Now. And they switch their chat platform. And then they make the critical mistake. Hey, I gave Brian's book to my niece, and she's going to run all our AdWords campaigns for the store, which completely blows up everything. And then they call CDK and say, please, let's go back to where we started. Do you relate to this story? How many marketing managers in this room, right, by a raise of hand, hate when your boss comes back from a 20 group? I know marketing managers that absolutely plan a day off the day after their boss gets back to a 20 group. Because here's what happens. If they're there on that first day, they hand them a stack of notes, right? Can you ever understand what's in those notes? No, right? It's just scribble and words and do and buy and change based on somebody else in another market. Ladies and gentlemen, there's something called a digital blind spot we need to address. That's why we're in the mess we're in. My colleague and co-author Thomas Gage and I talked about this about 2 years ago. Google Analytics only shows the dealer what's on their website. Yet, there's an entire ecosystem of expenses that all of you are investing in to generate influence, as John Clavendasher talked about. But the influence of these sites are masked. Do we understand this? That only a small percentage of the people who are interacting with AutoTrader, KBB, Edmunds, Car Gurus actually click a link from that website and go to the dealer's site. We hope to get referrals. The majority, the clear majority of people are exposed to your inventory and they come through another channel. They may come through a Facebook ad. They may come from your Google AdWords ad. They may come from organic. Maybe they even remembered your name from Cars.com and, clicked on your Google My Business listing. The second thing we need to reflect on is why don't we hold our vendors accountable for sending properly tagged traffic to our website? We had a Google Analytics workshop yesterday, and we just pulled up some dealers at random and looked how much traffic was being thrown into the other channel, which is the junk box of Google Analytics. One dealer had over 2,000 sessions in the last 30 days mistagged. PCG has also created new standards to help every dealer in this room to do better with the data that's available to them in Google Analytics. We also need to start doing people-based marketing and unite all of the devices that we use. I am not a big iPad user, so I have my cell phone and my laptop. How many of you have 3 or more devices that you use on a regular basis? Look around the room. Do you understand? Part of the problem is that if somebody comes to your website on your mobile phone, we need to be able to retarget them on their iPad, on their desktop, and their work computer, right? That's called the device graph. You're going to learn about that today and tomorrow. John Clavendasher kidded around with you about last click attribution. Carrie got all the credit. She got the money. But how many people passed the baton ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at how crazy we are in 2017. Somebody can visit cars.com and come to the dealer's website. They could search the dealer's name and come to the dealer's website. They can then see a Google SEM ad come to the dealer's website. Then they come direct, they submit a lead, and because the CRM vendors and the website vendors don't care about your data, it comes in as a website lead. It wasn't that it came in from a cars.com lead or a Google lead. It just says website lead. Or maybe you're investing in cable TV. Cable TV brings someone to your website, they do some shopping. Then you retarget them with a video pre-roll. Then you may even do some display retargeting. Then they see a Facebook ad, they come to your website, and the lead comes in as website lead. Do you understand how crazy this is? I went to a 20 group recently, and a guy was saying, my monthly budget for my single point Jeep Chrysler store is $200,000 a month. And when he saw this slide, he says, wow, I'm just completely guessing what's working. Can you help? Does this kind of report look familiar to you? Take a moment to just, this is what CRM's called like a lead performance report. How many of you look at a lead performance report on a monthly basis? Raise your hand. A lot of liars in the room. You all look at this report. But you know you shouldn't be looking at this report. But you do. You can't help yourself. But here's what happens. The people here in black are people who send you data through an ADF XML file, right? Isn't that correct? And so, in this particular case, Cars.com sent 25 leads into the CRM, and AutoTrader sent 25 leads. For some dealers, they say, wow, AutoTrader's horrible. I only got 25 leads. And they may cancel AutoTrader. And that is the stupidest single decision that a dealer can make to take themselves out of an active marketplace based on wrong data. Why is this absolutely asinine? Because those two major categories, website leads and walk-ins, are a result of all those marketing investments. But they're not in the CRM. Ladies and gentlemen, would you do me a favor? Stop using your CRM as a marketing ROI tool. That was a time for like an amen. It is crazy. Marketing managers in the room, it's crazy that you're not demanding better cooperation between your website provider and your CRM provider to get that multi-touch attribution information into the lead. Agencies also have to help. There's some big agencies in this room. They're influencing thousands of dealers. They need to lead the charge as well. We need to work together. It's just not the vendor community, dealer community, but all the agency partners. Would you take a minute to walk through this cartoon with me? Brian gets a catalog and sees a cool new sneaker. Then later I'm walking down the street and I see a billboard. Later I'm online, there's a display ad. I hear the sneaker company on the radio. Later, I see the sneaker again on television. I go to my mobile phone and buy it. And the marketing manager's like, shit, let's cancel everything and just go to mobile advertising. You say, Brian, that's so extreme. Oh, it is not extreme. Because of how jacked up your CRM is, have you ever heard the general manager say, my website is the best source of leads? Have you ever heard that? No shit! You're sending all your Facebook traffic, your SEM traffic, all your Comcast, all your radio. You're reinforcing your URL. But your CRM puts everything in website lead. Shame on us. Shame on us. And of course, with the new ADF spec and some of the new standards, you deserve better, and you need to demand it. In my new book, Who Sold It? I talk about multi-touch attribution, cross-device attribution, and it's sad that as I've talked to many of the dealers across the country, there's a lack of trust. We need to build some bridges. I'll talk about that today, about how do we build bridges to get dealers to understand and embrace multi-touch attribution. We need to reimagine what life could be if we injected new thoughts into our business. Have you thought about the evolution of websites? Who remembers those early versions of the websites you had? All right, a single photo, some beat description, a horrible photo, if it was one photo at all. And I remember, I was talking to Yago, I was trying to figure out, like, at what year did AutoTrader and Cars allow you to load up more than, 4 photos? But there was a time, it's like either 1 photo or 4 photos, that was it. Over time, we've enhanced our websites. Friends, if we're providing more relevant information on the websites, does it make sense that leads are going down? Absolutely. Leads per ad dollar are on the decrease. And yet, most 20 group conversations, and even some website companies are on this double my lead guarantee. If anybody could double my leads, wouldn't you believe that there would be only one website company in the world? It's like, shit, this website costs $1,000, this one costs $1,000, let me go double my leads. Well, then they find out, in order to get that double my lead guarantee, you have to put all sorts of shit on your website. Every corner another pop-up form happens. Is that really what we want? If leads are so important, why aren't we tracking all 4 conversion channels? Didn't you just tell me that 75% of you, if I went into your analytics account, you would not see 4 working goals? So my challenge to you is, do you really care about it? You might say you care about it, but really, do you? Last year, I introduced heavy conversation on this idea that the dealership managers were set up to fail. Some of you might know that occasionally I might be critical of people online, especially if I feel they're hurting the dealer. Ladies and gentlemen, look at this pie chart. The majority of people that you send to your website through earned or paid media or owned media do not convert to one of those 4 lead channels. Isn't it odd that until we created the spec last year, that most dealers in this room had no idea what the other 95% of the traffic was doing on their website? Think about that. Do you think Amazon tracks what people do on their website? Do you think Zappos tracks what people do on their website? Yet we're in this huge section of our economy, and why weren't dealers given the insights to know what the majority of consumers are doing on their website? Phones are the #1 conversion channel, and it is the weakest data entry into Google Analytics. Please don't tell me you want to optimize your marketing mix. Don't tell me you want to build sales attribution models if you don't want to plug in phone calls into your ecosystem. Are you willing to reimagine your business? If you are, I promise everyone here in the room one thing. If you reimagine your business, you are going to identify at least 20% waste and inefficiencies in your ad budget. And for some groups in this room, you know what that number equates to? $20 million a year. Let me say that again. 20% to a single point store might not seem like a lot. But 20% to an AutoNation, to a Lithia, to a Berkshire Hathaway is tens of millions of dollars. The only thing we need to do is pivot our thinking to be more data-centric, to embrace standards, and to stop fighting between the vendor community and get people to work together. We need to document everything that's going on in your website. And until PCG published the specification last year, there was not a single company who proposed that it could be done. And here's the reason why. Everyone said no one would support it. Today, 2017, the largest companies in automotive marketing are supporting the PCG spec. That's no small feat, but we're just getting started. We need to remove friction from our shopping process. Number one, our digital retailing needs to be native. It has to feel that it's part of the website. It has to be intuitive. We need to be using metrics that every e-commerce company does. We happen to call it in our specification form completion rate. When someone starts a trade-in process, what percentage finishes? The form completion rate. We need it seamless so that when someone starts a transaction online, when they come into the dealership, the consumer can pick up where they left off. And lastly, measurable. I don't think that we have digital retailing figured out. I just don't, not today. But we need to continually be measuring what consumers are doing on our website if we want to stay relevant. We need to start reimagining our data to create audiences and targeted groups of people who exhibit buyer behavior. We're going to learn a lot about that today and tomorrow. There's some exciting things that you'll hear from Max at CDK, from Sean Seltzer at Social Dealer, about real-time optimization with Facebook, with lookalike audiences, to absolutely in real time present the perfect message to the person at the right time. We also have to embrace personalization. How many of you use Netflix? Netflix? Look around the room. Isn't it nice when you log into Netflix, you feel like they know you? Isn't it true? So Karen and I have been binge watching a little bit lately, and I'm new to Netflix just within the last few months. And I kind of like going into Netflix. It's like, well, what other cool shows do you got in there? Ladies and gentlemen, there's a turn coming in 2018 that you should really be aware of. The power of ecosystems. Here's the CDK ecosystem: Chevy, Volkswagen, Mini, Nissan, Lexus, Cadillac, Tier 1 tagging. Also tagging on Edmunds, and if you didn't hear the announcement, common tagging on Car Gurus. All of these off-site activities, when a consumer comes to your CDK website now, will be personalized. If you were shopping for a Chevy Silverado on Tier 1 or on Car Gurus or on Edmunds doing some research, when that consumer comes to your CDK website, that homepage or landing page will be optimized with Silverado. Do you think that's relevant, ladies and gentlemen? Ecosystem. Cox has a powerful ecosystem. In addition to their exclusive Tier 1 deals, AutoTrader and KBB. Again, if you haven't taken the time to see their personalization, the Dealer.com team is here. James Grace is here from their analytics team. Learn about the power of these ecosystems. These ecosystems are going to put small agencies out of business, and they should. Let me say that again. That includes even PCG's agency, even my own agency. Because if dealers finally understand attribution, you need more data to create an effective attribution model. And yeah, your local advertiser is a nice guy or a nice gal, but they don't have tracking pixels on AutoTrader. They don't have tracking pixels on KBB. They don't have tracking pixels on Subaru or Volvo. So when you are a Subaru or Volvo dealer, you have the best personalized experience based on real-time data. And then both Cox and CDK have partnered with other companies to bring unique data out to market. We also have to explore location-based marketing. I want you to talk to the LiveRamp people. They're doing some really cool things. But do you know now someone doesn't even have to connect to your Wi-Fi? If they just come on your lot and that Wi-Fi is listed, LiveRamp can do a matchup and find out who that person was on your lot. And then tie it back to marketing. And then beacons. Has anybody put beacons in their dealership yet? Beacons? Few of you? Google's going to be pushing this. We've done it before. Facebook has done it. We've tested this. But if you have a high volume store, you can put beacons in the service drive and beacons in the showroom door. And when people walk in, you can start to actually market to them when they leave, creating custom audiences. It's an exciting time to be in the industry. I'm so excited about the lineup we have to talk about this, but it's going to take some work. And we need to work together. That's why I'm going to challenge everyone in the room, from the largest dealer groups, and thank you for coming, to the individual stores, and thank you for coming. We got to get our shit together. And I am passionately out to defend the dealer's right to inspect their marketing investments. Do we need to do that? We do. Time for some polling. I've been talking enough up here. Let's go. Dealers in the room, do you have a process in place to inspect your Google Analytics goals weekly? Every week, you're making sure that your goals are firing. So if someone drops some code off your website and you've stopped having call conversions, you know. There's absolutely no way a week would go by if your data got jacked up by one of your vendors that you wouldn't know. It's a good question, right? Don't you think? If conversion is important, if sales attribution is important, marketing managers, dealer principals, do you care? What if somebody locked the showroom door, lost the key? Would you let people just walk away? How many of you would smash the glass in the front door, sweep it up, and let people through the... That's what you do. Because you're saying, this is an opportunity for me to profit. How come we don't look at our data that way? How about this one? How many sales and marketing reports are you expected as a marketing manager or general manager to review monthly? This should be fun. How many reports? Let's take a look. Marketing managers in the room, do you need another vendor report on your desk every month? I always laugh. I ask people, what do you do with your reports? I'm like, what do you do with your Cars.com report? And they're like, well, I look at it and I put it away. I said, is there any actionable data on that report? Like, no, not really. Nothing that I understand. Why do you look at the report then? Well, I'm spending a lot of money, so I better look at it in case my boss says, did you look at it? Here's a tough one. Does a typical general manager have the training to inspect their marketing decisions? Do general managers hope their F&I department is working? Do they hope their F&I department is working? That's an audience response piece here. They don't hope. What do they look at to see if their F&I department is firing? Funding, back-end gross, right? They know, isn't it true? A general manager knows exactly how to hold their fixed ops and F&I managers to a number. Isn't that true? How do you hold your marketing vendors accountable? For most general managers, here's what they say. I have to hope I pick the right person. Does anybody resonate with that? That really the task of inspecting, look at these numbers. We are absolutely at a knowledge and training gap in our industry. Here's another one. Managers here in the room, are you using your DMS data on a regular basis or not to create effective marketing campaigns? Go ahead and vote. This should be interesting how this finally And be honest, please, right? This is anonymous, so you don't have to lie to me. I'm here to help. Look at that. 35, 13, let's call it 50% of the dealers are not even leveraging the gold mine that represents their ideal customer. Think about that. Friends, we need to be protecting Google Analytics just as like the key to the front door of our dealership. We need to be very careful who we give that key to so they don't jack up our data. We need to be inspecting that data. I can't tell you how many times I'm saddened when I bring on a new client, I look at their data and it's like, oh, what happened to data for these 3 months? Well, we changed website platforms. And, well, someone forgot to bring the UA code over, right? Has that ever happened to anybody here in the room? Yeah, it's happened. And more people who didn't raise their hand because that would imply that you missed that and that would be really incompetency, right? Our problem is, as an industry, we work in silos. These 25 plus marketing reports that the average general manager or marketing manager get are all acting in a last click environment. Visitash is bridging that gap by bringing all the data into one trusted source, an independent, trusted place for dealers and marketing managers to look at their data. I know that it's frustrating for the average general manager to inspect their marketing. I'm not expecting them to be a digital expert, but here's one thing I will tell you. There's a lot of young blood here in the room. As your budget for digital increases, general managers, dealer principals here in the room, you have no choice but to invest in better education. You have no choice. It's becoming too important to your overall sales success. We need to unlock the power of the data in our DMS, and we need to work on data hygiene. This was an interesting article on Forbes. How much time, watch, the smart people that you pay a lot of money for, the data scientists, what percentage of their time is just doing mundane data cleaning tasks? It's over 70%. Wow. Brian, are you telling me that I have to really start investing in some type of a data hygiene process? Absolutely. In my book, Who Sold It?, I talk about this idea of marketing levers. Here's what I believe. After studying, well, hundreds and hundreds of Google Analytics reports, looking at hundreds and hundreds of dealers who are now using engagement standards, that there is this concept of a showroom traffic box, where as you increase the lever, showroom traffic increases. Would anybody like this green box wrapped up and sent home with you? Learn from our educators here. This is happening. Once you have good data and clean data, then companies like Max at CDK, Brian at Cox, innovative companies like Dealer eProcess and Dealer Inspire, if you have clean data, you really can move the ball forward to increasing showroom traffic. Lastly, on our journey, we need to retool. Well, I don't want to sound doom and gloom for small agencies or smaller website companies, but you need to figure out whose camp you're going to be in. Right now, there's this two major ecosystems, the CDK ecosystem and the Cox ecosystem. How does a small individual website company compete when these larger companies have a data universe that's so specific and so detailed? But there's companies here in the room. Oracle's here. LiveRamp is here. There's a lot of great companies here that will help our technology partners suck in more data from the ecosystem. But in the future, in the next year or two, the companies that have the largest ecosystems and largest data matched with AI and machine learning will crush the return on ad spend from somebody who's just using Google AdWords as their marketing tool. What does that connected ecosystem looks like? This is an example of CDKs. Input from branded sites, tier 2 sites, dealer sites, you could read all of these. Taking all that data in the CDK Customer Cloud and learning about the behavior of the shoppers so that when they go to the dealer's website, they can present the right new car model, used car model, or service offer. Ladies and gentlemen, here's what I believe is true. Outside of automotive, the companies that have the best data and ecosystem are crushing the competition. Now, we have to move towards understanding how to unlock this data to increase showroom traffic. You heard from David Metter. He's helping get the data that we need from our vendor partners in our ecosystem. And of course, you've learned about the PCG engagement specification, which CDK and Cox recently announced support for, Dealer Inspire, Dealer eProcess, Fusion Zone. You'll see the industry is finally uniting together. The question is, will you leave this conference with a commitment to learn about how to manage your data, to learn about how to bring in this third-party data, and how to optimize your return on ad spend? Here's what I found out 16 months ago when Lithia challenged me, our largest customer on VistaDash. Brian, we love VistaDash, but I need to be able to inspect all my marketing campaigns for any of the 165 Lithia stores in 1 minute. That was their challenge to me. Give me one screen, I can see all my marketing, all my AdWords, Facebook, email marketing, whatever, Conquest. And I said yes, not even knowing that it would transform my whole business. This conference would not have happened unless Lithia challenged me. Because 15, 16 months ago, I realized I was part of the problem. I was just spouting out what Google told every agency partner, and we're a Google premium partner. Hey, it was cost per click and impression share and time on site and number of page views. And what I realized, you can look at all those metrics all day long, and you will not improve your marketing campaigns. What we were missing in the industry is we had no quality metrics. From the PCG specification, we came out with 6 metrics, 5 of them are here, to give dealers the ability in 1 minute to inspect all their marketing investments. Multi-channel. I don't care where the traffic's coming from. In the coming weeks, you'll hear some more announcements on how we're working with marketing portals and other partners to bring in off-site data into VistaDash as well. But I am proud to say that just by sweat, determination, and a pen, sometimes when I write articles, people listen. Maybe. We have great website, great chat providers. All of those on the left support our standard. Those 4 companies on the right have committed before the end of the year. Call tracking, we have 2 really powerful companies, and Interactive Tel. And of course on the websites, Dealer eProcess, Dealer Inspire, Fusion Zone, CDK, and Dealer.com have all committed, listen, to allow you to put them to the test. Is that good news, ladies and gentlemen? There's no cost. We don't charge companies to support this specification. We just urge them, look, dealers are getting smarter, and I'm educating them. And they're going to demand more from you, and if you're not transparent, they're going to go somewhere else. And that's an important thing to realize. We need to start looking at location-based data. I'm really excited about some of the tools, and you can learn from the folks at Near and a few of the other companies here about location-based marketing. But for the first time, being able to see if somebody's shopping for a car on acars.com, walks onto a lot, how many of those customers were influenced through that ecosystem. I love the fact that we're getting data now that can actually show consumers who are on your lot or near your lot because of some of the imprecisions of location-based marketing. Ladies and gentlemen, there are levers like this that you can move to increase showroom traffic, but we have to get the right data in place. Isn't that true? Do you see how crazy it is? We've been wanting this for so many years, but until we pulled this conference together, I didn't even realize how bad it was. But we're going to change starting today. Ladies and gentlemen, I took you on a journey. That journey I'm calling to the fourth power. It's my physics training. Reflect, reimagine, require, retool. You need to do these four things when you leave Boca Raton, hopefully with a little tan. You need to really concentrate that the future of your business is dependent on these things. We need, vendor community, stop fighting with each other and work together to create an ecosystem. You can't win every deal. Get over yourself. We need to work together, support an open standard, so that the dealers in this room, some of your largest customers, have the ability to inspect what they're paying for. During the writing of the book, I talked to Max Steckler because CDK's been working on a multi-touch, cross-device attribution model for a long time. They're really early adopters of deep analytics on the dealer's website, Tier 1, Tier 2, 3, and offsite. And Max brought up this analogy about a crooked yardstick. Ladies and gentlemen, attribution isn't perfect today. At best, an individual company might be able to identify 30 or 40% of anonymous shoppers to an actual sale, at best. And the more partnerships you have, the more overlap, but it's not linear, like, hey, this one does 30%, this one does 30%, no. But here's what Max said. Brian, if we could just get dealers even using a crooked yardstick, every vendor would be held to the same standard. Is the PCG specification perfect? No. But for the first time, a dealer can move from a dealer-on website to a dealer reprocess website to a dealer Inspire website to a CDK website and never have to see their analytics jacked up. They can actually see performance improvements or decreases. If somebody moves from CarChat24 to Gubagoo or Active Engage, none of their chat goals break. Do you understand how important that is? And then, if we build some attribution model and every website platform and every chat platform is held to the same standards, we could start to create that crooked yardstick. We got to do it together, and I'm going to close with this challenge. Vendors, you have to commit to data transparency. If you're not committed to the BCG specification, you do that at your own risk, because I'm fighting for the dealers' ability to inspect their marketing return on ad spend. We need to foster collaboration, and thank you, so many of you working with David Metter and the ADF committee. But dealers, you're being irresponsible with your boss's money. You are. Because you allow people to jack up your Google Analytics data. You operate day after day with broken goals for conversions. And you're using your CRM to determine which marketing investments are working. You have to change as well. We want to address the red-headed stepchild is that when somebody gets a CDK report or a Cox report, they marginally trust it. Is that true? Yes or no? You can say that a little louder. Yes. How are we going to do that? I think Google Analytics is a start with a specification. I think what VistaDash is doing is a start, but we need to really reinvent and innovate so that when somebody gets a report from the largest providers of digital advertising and websites, there's a third party, a trusted third party that can verify that that data is accurate. Do you think we need something like that? I want you to imagine a world with clear attribution. It's not going to happen from your CRM. It's going to be tools that show you how consumers shop, and AI and machine learning to optimize your marketing and to know these different touch points. So how do you get started? I sent everyone an ebook, and in that ebook I talk about crawl, walk, run. Crawl, confirm you have Google Analytics installed properly. Standardize your goals and events, right? 4 conversion channels and soft conversions. Record all your conversion channels. Fix your campaign URLs. Stop allowing companies to jack up your Google Analytics reports. And lastly, start to create some custom channel groupings so you could see the impact of a Car Gurus or an Edmunds or an offsite party. Walk. Get Google Tag Manager containers installed with scripts. Track what is happening on your website, what consumers are doing on your website. Start using the assisted conversion reports in Google Analytics. Stop using these last-click attribution reports. Start inspecting the quality of your traffic with the metrics that we've defined. And lastly, use the form completion rate to identify friction on your website. Where are consumers finding it difficult? Lastly, running. Start pulling in that DMS data to model who your ideal customer is. Start to embrace location-based data. Start to integrate off-site conversions and interactions. Build that ecosystem with your partners. And then start to create your dealer group or your dealership's first attribution model. But it requires data. And lastly, Christian Barton's CEO of Datalicious, company was recently acquired, and he said to me, Brian, attribution models have to be continually refined. It's not set it and forget it. And so I want to be very clear, every month there's going to be some new advantages, new technology, new things that come to market, and it's going to allow us to improve our models. We need to stay nimble. And that's a challenge to the biggest companies like Cox and CDK. You guys need to be more nimble. You need to be more nimble because as this market changes, you need to be not only leveraging your reach, but also serving even a single point store with current market solutions. I'm here to serve you. I'm here to help you. And so are all the speakers and panelists we're going to have today. These companies are on the room. Do not leave this conference without a clear plan on your next steps through attribution. The possibilities are limitless. The question is, do you have the energy to do it? It's the question. Do you have the commitment to say, Brian, we're spending $10 million a year in our dealer group, and I'm going to find that $2 million of waste and either save it and put it to the bottom line or move it to more effective channels. Tomorrow, we'll be doing the book signing with my co-author, Tom Gage. Very excited that you leave here with that book. And there's a little bonus. For the dealers here in the room, I shipped down the Swimming with Digital Sharks book. So all the dealers here will get 2 books tomorrow. Now it's time to get to work. Are you ready to roll up your sleeves and change your marketing outcomes for your dealership? Yes or no? Boy, that was really weak. Are you ready?